As you all know, these pipelines weren't pumping gas into Europe at this time. NS2 was never operational, as you guys know. NS1 has not been operational for weeks because Putin has weaponized energy, and we have said this many times before. This just drives home the importance of our efforts to work together to get alternative gas supplies to Europe and to support efforts to reduce gas consumption and accelerate true energy independence by moving to clean energy economy.
So Biden's press secretary seems to think that the fact that these pipelines were not used and Russia had closed them down, I guess it's okay to blow them up, right? Well, that's what she seems to think. And I had a really big think about who would actually be responsible to do this. And I just didn't think it would be the United States. I just didn't think it was capable of them doing it. But then listening to the press secretary herself, that gave the game away. I'm just 100% sure it's the United States now. The fact that she's saying that these pipelines were not used at the time, and also the fact that she says she wants her European allies to buy gas and oil from United States instead. So that's what it's all about. That's exactly what it's all about, guys. She just gave the game away. She doesn't want Europeans to use any cheap Russian gas. She wants them to buy the expensive stuff from the United States. And she admitted it. At no point I've seen any sort of denial from the United States over the last few days. Nobody from the White House, nobody, Blinken or anyone has said, no, we did not do this. All I hear them do is blame Putin for it. But why would Russia blow up their own pipeline? And plus, this was a huge leverage for them. And in the future, when things calm down, whether in 5 years, 10 years, they can easily open the lines again and provide gas to the Europeans if they had to. Now there's no turning back. And the fact that the press secretary didn't even mention the amount of marine damage this has caused, the amount of fishes and marine life that's been killed during this terrorism act, and also the amount of methane that's been released into the atmosphere. Methane pollutes the atmosphere 20 times more than carbon dioxide does. And they are saying the amount of methane that's been released is the same amount of CO2 New York produces in a year. So let that sink in. Imagine how much methane that is and how much damage this is causing to the atmosphere. Another thing that's given it away is the Polish MEP who tweeted, "Thank you, USA," after this incident was released. And he's since deleted it, but the damage has been done. Which seems to think that maybe the Polish realized, or maybe they had some sort of communication with the USA, with the Biden admin or something, that something major was going to be happening to the pipeline. And the fact that Poland doesn't really need these pipelines anymore, and it's all a coincidence. They are now using this pipeline coming all the way from Norway, going through the Baltic states, and coming into Poland. So they are completely independent from this pipeline. And it wouldn't surprise me if these guys just sat together and worked out a way to destroy these pipelines. And I'm pretty sure they were somehow involved. I mean, why would you send that tweet out thanking the United States and deleting it again? It just shows you're guilty. And also the fact that the Germans are not blaming the Russians as well. I've not seen any Germans actually blaming the Russians so far. I think they also know deep down it's the United States. So you can see Russia is calling this incident a terrorist act, and I'm a bit saddened actually. I'm a bit saddened that the United States would go to this kind of lengths. I did not think in a million years that they would ever do something like this. It's very childish. And the fact that, this is not just affecting Russia. It's going to be affecting Germany and the rest of Europe. And they don't care. And these Germans, they don't see what's happening to them. They don't see how the Biden administration is making an absolute fool out of them. I'm going to get to that in a bit. I'm going to talk about that a bit more. So you can see Nordstream damage is irreplaceable. They can't fix it because it's now full of seawater. So what they're going to have to do is find a way to repair the pipe and get rid of all of that seawater. And plus, with all of the seawater inside, it's probably full of rust, and they're going to have to clean all of that up. It's just a lot of work. It's much easier to lay new pipelines than to fix the damage that's already there. I think it's just not going to happen anymore. There is no turning back anymore. So Trump is coming in, and he's saying sabotage could lead to World War III. We'll see what happens. But we all know Trump is he loves the limelight. He loves the showbiz. He loves the razzmatazz. So he'll always say things like this. But we'll see what happens. So there's stories about NATO testing underwater equipment close to Nordstream. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of underwater submarine or underwater drone they could have used to do this. I don't think humans could have done it. When I say humans, like, that water is quite deep. I'm talking about organizations outside a country, like a bunch of real terrorists who are just out there to destroy infrastructure. I don't think they would have known where the pipe is, because you need a lot of intelligence to know exactly where the pipes are. And also, human can't swim that far down. You need some sort of vessel, either submarine or underwater drone. So I just heard today that the German Chancellor is putting in 200 billion energy aid package. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. He's probably thinks he's Liz Truss or something, because Liz Truss has done exactly the same thing. So it doesn't sound like he knows what he's doing, this guy. So I just want to say a few things. He must know this was the Biden administration, because he was standing there when Biden said, "We will make sure this Nord Stream 2 is out of action. We will make sure of it." And he was standing there like a cuckold, just watching him. This guy is allowing the Biden administration to wrap his country. Obviously, I can't say the real word. I'm going to get demonetized. But he is allowing that. The people running the Biden administration are all sociopaths. And one of the major things about sociopaths is you don't think about consequences. You don't have any conscience. So you can go around doing whatever you want to do. You will never have any conscience about it. You will never feel bad. You will never think about any consequences. And a lot of the criminals out there, they are sociopaths. Murderers, rapists. And this guy is allowing one of these rapists to go into his bedroom and spend the night with his missus. This is exactly the same thing. He is allowing these guys to rap his country. So what the United States is doing to Germany, I'm not going to blame them, to be honest. I am no way going to sit here and blame them. I'm going to blame this guy. This guy, it's all his fault. Because when you allow a rapist to spend the night with your missus, whose fault is that? It's 100% your fault. It's not the rapist's fault. Because he's going to go out there and get what he can. He's a sociopath. He's got no conscience. He'll do what he wants. It's this guy who is allowing this to happen. This is the guy who's allowing USA to wrap his country. So it's his fault, not the USA, not Biden. Absolutely unbelievable. I just don't understand how this guy can make it all happen and allow this to happen to his country. Merkel would have never allowed this. And now you realize what a tough job Merkel had when she was in power. And you can see why she was standing up to, Trump and many other Western leaders. And, she was a real influence and a balancing act between the United States and Russia. She kept those two at bay. And she did not allow Germany to be wrapped the way it is being wrapped right now. This guy is such a fool. Seriously, what did the German people do to deserve him? So imagine this, all of this money that this guy is wasting, 200 billion here, 100 billion there to save energy company, 100 billion here for bailout, 400 or 500 billion is costing the German economy, probably going to be more. All of this money could have been avoided, and he's just wasting it all. He could have been like Merkel, he could have been neutral and tried to be some sort of mediator between the West and Russia. Could have done that instead of saying, oh, we will stand together, we will be exactly the same, we will do the same steps, not different steps, we will do exactly the same steps. That's what he said. Then he starts sending weapons to Ukraine, starts, obviously these weapons are used to kill Russian soldiers. Unbelievable what a puppet this guy is or has become. Then you have Ursula, who is trying to put more sanctions on Russia. How much more sanctions is she going to put on Russia? How much more? Has she not sanctioned Russia to death? Have they not used up all of their sanctioned weapons? What more can they do to Russia? Does Russia even care right now? She says she's talking about these sham referendums. Well, let me tell you something about sham referendums. What about the coup in Ukraine? What about all of these Soviet states who, former Soviet states who wanted to leave the Soviet Union? And I remember the West, they were loving it up when they sham referendums back then. Referendums are referendums when it suits them. When it doesn't suit them, they're sham, apparently. Unbelievable. So I want to talk about Great Britain. Not so Great Britain anymore, as you know. It's Little Britain now. And I was walking down the street today, and I don't think people realize how close Britain came to collapsing yesterday. We were that close to collapsing our whole economy. And people are walking around like nothing's happened. People are completely oblivious to what's happening around them. The Bank of England had to buy its own bonds for 65 billion. So you're going to say, where's it going to get 65 billion from? Well, it's going to have to print more money. That's what they said, they're going to have to print more money. And the stocks have been falling down today. Unbelievable. I mean, is there no intelligent people running this country anymore? What the hell is happening to this country? The fact that UK bonds at one point used to be very, very good bonds. They were sold all around the world. They were quite high in demand. But Britain decided to make an enemy of rich countries such as China, even like Russia, most of the Middle East by supporting Israel. Obviously, India doesn't like Britain because of the colonial past, and nor does Africa, and nor does Europe after Brexit. Britain doesn't have any more friends. So who the hell is going to buy British bonds from? Nobody. And that's what's happened. Nobody's buying British bonds. So the Bank of England had to buy its own bonds. And if they didn't buy these bonds, then the pensions, UK pensions, would have collapsed. And that would have caused a major, major headache for the working class. People would have been rioting in the streets because this is their pension you're talking about. Unbelievable how close UK came to an absolute collapse yesterday. And people are just walking around like nothing, like everything's normal. I just do not understand British people these days. I think the British government has done a good job keeping British people dumb over the years. They fed them on a diet of reality TV, trash TV, crappy social media. These people are completely brainwashed. And nowadays they are just letting drugs through the borders. They don't care. They don't care if people get high or drugged up. It's good for them because these people are not going to go out and protest because they're going to be too busy getting high. Anyway, guys, that's all I have time for today. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for all the help and support you guys are giving. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.